OMG, we're back. And yeah, so Eritrea's having some camera issues. I'm having the occasional camera flicker. So, it's all about the story, I promise. But, sometimes it's nice to see all of our pretty faces. Especially, let's be honest, Ryan is stunning, and we deserve to see the stunning Eritrea as well. That's what
I wish you could see me blushing right now.
Well, that's the whole point. I get to make you blush, but I don't have to take responsibility for it.
You just walk in and piggyback on Alexa's camera, just in the background with his computer.
Just raised one platform above her.
Do it crouch.
My favorite is when Alexa puts her headphones down and I yell really loud, "Hey, Alexa, what are you doing?" And then your Alexa goes off. It's absolutely hysterical when that happens. Hey, Tally, how are you?
I'm good. How is everybody else?
So me and Tally have a confession to make.
Do we?
Yeah, we live in California, and we feel really bad for everyone else. It has been consistently 77 degrees for the better part of the last 2.5 weeks.
What?
Got up to 80 on Wednesday. And the forecast for the next, the 10-day forecast is basically 50 degrees at night and 73 degrees during the day. That's welcome to a California Christmas, folks.
That's pretty ideal.
It's insane.
It was 17 degrees here a day or two ago.
No.
Yes.
Let me quote my son. Let me quote what my 3-year-old son says. No.
But it's 60 right now. It's 55 right now in Ohio.
It's about that here in Louisville.
Yeah.
It was 50 degrees today here in Chicago, but I think it's going to get back down to the 20s in the next 2 days. So
until Tuesday night, but it's supposed to. We're supposed to rain and snow, but yeah.
But tomorrow's still 51. But Thursday, high of 16 degrees.
Yeah.
There's nothing like February everywhere else in the country but California, especially Southern California.
I hear it never rains.
I specifically remember 11 years ago, we had a 89-degree Christmas. It was 89 degrees. It was crazy. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're going to be coming up on a break here pretty soon. We're going to not be back until the 22nd. And then we only meet, I think we only meet maybe the 22nd and the 29th, and then it's 2025, y'all. It's going to be a new year. I not to be a total downer, I still have not gotten my invitation yet.
I'll message you. We'll send you a picture.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe it's a Did you get yours, Tally?
No, but I've been having some issues with my mail, so I don't know.
Oh, weird.
I think it's a California mail problem. I think as the Republic is about to go independent, that we're no longer allowed to accept federal mailings because, it's accepting mail from a foreign power. So, it's a whole thing. It's a whole conspiracy.
Not just a foreign power.
My driver's license has not arrived for me for over 6 months. So,
that's
6 months now. Yeah, it's not great.
Actually, mine. I had to go in. And get my pink slip because it never got to me. I had to go in and do my driver's license separately too. I'm wondering if our California mailing system might be having some statewide issues. It's very because all mine comes to a business lockbox here where I am. So we've never had a mail problem that way. But at the ranch, we get traveling nomadics with sticky fingers from time to time because our mailbox is literally a half a mile away from our house. So it's not like we, always can have our eyes on it. But, I put up a fake camera on a telephone pole looking down at it, and we haven't had any problems since. So Felicity goes, what if they just steal the camera? I'm like, well, I'll put an AirPod tracker in it or something, an air tag in it. So silly. Well, Where we last left off, the team having a very interesting meeting with this individual that goes by the name of Crimp, also learning of a new organization called the Shadow Blade, all seem to have taken place in the Ember Spire. The same Ember Spire that they accidentally or slightly accidentally nearly burnt to the ground, but luckily it was contained and, things were managed. But with the absence of the Hubatt Corsairs, the Ember Spire has kind of declined into a bit of kind of organized crime chaos as different groups are now vying to kind of take over the territory of the Hubatt Corsairs. Meanwhile, the team have gotten their shop up and running. They've also learned some interesting information about Melody's sister. It would seem that she is wanted for the attempted theft of the painting. Maybe this is the reason why she's chosen to leave the city now. We have a potential new contact in that is linked to the Raven Queen organization that resides in King's Fall, Sister Tessa, who may be a contact to reach out to if the team ever decides to try to travel to King's Fall. With all this going on, Eritrea visited the Dawnfather, Melody visited Suni. Was it Suni's contact that was Sister Tessa, or the Dawnfather was contact Sister Tessa?
Dawnfather's contact.
Dawnfather, sorry. A Dawnfather contact in King's Fall. It was Karina's weird reaching out to the Raven Queen to kind of reestablish her oath. We had a bit of a divine session last time. Everybody kind of using their connection with the religious pantheon of Jrusar and Marquet to kind of reorient and try to root themselves. Eritrea had an interesting conversation with an older looking elf that had traveled from Whitestone seeking Jaman Saord. With all the kind of busyness of getting the shop ready, you guys eventually all journeyed back to the Dancing Centaur. Prancing Centaur. Has to be prancing, doesn't it, Melody? It can't be dancing.
How about
only prance in the
Could we change
face? We
to
don't dance.
Scintillating centaur.
Everybody can. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Oh wait,
Kurt,
Karina
thank you.
was at the Raven Queen's
At like one of the little small chapels or whatever.
yeah, is where she ended up.
Did you end there? I thought you went back to the Prancing Centaur for the long rest.
No, we ended just as she was like going in that direction.
Did we? I thought you had the conversation with her.
I had in the beginning of the session, not really a conversation as much as a reaching out and an
Right.
acknowledgement. But she was only gonna, do like a small funerary rite for trauma and then go back. So we can just say.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
You were like, we were having Marquet mules, and you were like, I have to go grocery shopping.
Yeah. You guys were having Marquette mules. That's right.
I guess I should probably stop by the grocery store too.
With that in mind, before we do the long break or the long rest, so they're having a wedding here tonight, which is absolutely hysterical. And look, see, it happens to me too. Let me try and see if my camera will let me reset. Give me one moment.
It kept bopping in and out earlier. Like it would do that and then it would pop back up after.
Yeah, I know. It. I'm pretty sure the HDMI repeater is going to solve this problem, but I won't know until it gets here. So, Karina, the Raven Queen is new to Jrusar. There's no sense that it's a flourishing pantheon here yet. So, arriving at the small kind of Unitarian chapel that that allows for secular belief, for the idea that although the Dawnfather, the Wild Mother, and Sunni seem to have begun the establishment of pantheons here, by far the Dawnfather, one of the more popular versions of pantheon. The Wild Mother being somewhat new, and with Eritreo's arrival into Jrusar as well, Sarenrae is even gaining a little bit of steam here. The hope and the light of what some consider the savior, the divine savior of Vasselheim during the attempted ascension of Vecna. Although there are the cautious whispers in the wind regarding a resurgence of the god Helm, since there was a recent kind of described as a kind of miracle that had happened out in the Lucidian Sea. And even now, the mysteries of that and the understanding of what transpired out amongst the Shattered Isles and Lucidian Sea have kind of taken on a notion of its own. Divinity is making a resurgence in Marquet, but there is still the trust of the weapon, the satisfaction of wealth. But the Raven Queen by far is the most unrepresented within Jrusar. In fact, the small temple that you're at is maybe big enough to hold a service for maybe about 20 people. The small Raven Queen altar up on the front dais, the only priestess here kind of attending to the candles and the raven's feathers that are part of the symbolism of the Raven Queen, as well as the kind of white mask with the single teardrop on it, no mouth, representing the avatar visage of the Raven Queen. The priestess nods as you sit up amongst the dais. What do you want to say about trauma?
I would like to be in my Corina form, and I would like to just ask the Raven Queen to take care of trauma wherever he is. I would like to, I guess, kind of hope that he, even though his like sense of consciousness is an outlier, that it kind of exists in its own right, even like without his body, and just kind of, ask that that the Raven Queen shows him grace wherever he is.
As you do this kind of offering, is there a physical item or something that you'd like to leave behind at the altar?
Let's see, what do I have? I mean, we do still have Trauma's hats.
You do?
But I would like to keep it.
It's a very nice hat.
So we can take care of it. I do have 1 diamond left and a fire beetle. I would like to.
We did have those arms.
Oh, right.
They're kind of big and heavy, but
I don't think I carried them. Karina's too dainty. She could never. No, I think I'd like to leave the fire beetle and kind of have it as a kind of representation of Trauma's light.
As you set the fire beetle onto the altar, you watch as the nearby priestess kind of stands next to the altar, begins to do a ceremonial kind of song during your offering. She is half masked, so her bottom face is covered, only showing the dark eyes. The bottom mask is a white material, a kind of mimicry of her avatar form. Her eyes smile as much as she speaks from behind the mask. Was this a good friend of yours?
Yes.
I will engrave his name for you in the alabaster statue of her worthiness. It is said that she waits on the threshold of death for us all, and she will guide us all one by one to where we deserve to go. Sometimes her voice calls through the darkness to those that cannot find, those that find themselves wandering the route of purgatory. Only the Raven Queen can bring you across. No one else. I will see to it that this offering is enshrined properly.
Thank you so much.
She takes the beetle, places it into a golden urn with a kind of like red paint on it. She gently crushes the beetle and takes a black crow feather, combines the two, and there's this like black and blue kind of energy that creates a little thing of smoke that kind of explodes subtly in front of the avatar form of the Raven Queen, giving a kind of almost like reverent kind of feel to it. At the end of the sacrifice, she murmurs words that aren't familiar to you, does the mark of the Raven Queen, and kind of just walks away to do other responsibilities. Where would you like to go next?
Is this a space that people can kind of stay in overnight, or is this a space that is too packed for that?
It's more of a space of visiting and worship. It doesn't have the large vestibules or the attached dormitories that the bigger places have. It's mostly for the nomadic, those that are passing through Jrusar, that simply want to find a place to reach out to their divinities.
I see. Just because we're gonna take a long rest soon, I'm gonna waste some spell slots.
Okay. Perfect timing for the assassin waiting out front.
God, every time I do that, that's what happens. I'm gonna do Rap Sense to see if I can sense any gateways from where I am within 30 feet.
Ooh. From where you are. As part of your wrapping up the ritual, you invoke the spell. There is a lingering gateway that is slowly closing over the altar. You get the feeling that when she did the sacrificial embodiment of the fire beetle and the crow's feather, it created a small dimensional opening that consumed the magic, and you can sense it's closing. Like it's just a remnant of the divine energy closing behind the sacrifice.
Okay. I guess that's good. And then if I can find, I'd like to do like animal messenger, ideally with a hawk if I can.
Are you in the streets in front of the temple, or are you summoning a messenger that you get to send off? How's that work?
It says, by means of spell, you use an animal to deliver a message. Choose a tiny beast you can see within range, such as a squirrel, a blue jay, or a bat.
You're in a small chapel. I'll say you can see a handful of small bats kind of hanging up in, I'm not going to say it, but I will say it, up in the belfry, kind of like up in the rafters above where you're currently standing.
Okay, I'm just going to summon one, and so in my character backstory, it says that
Bat settles on your shoulder.
The maid in the household I was in knew my secret and would kind of help me navigate stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to send a message to her asking if everything's okay and telling her that I did not receive an answer from my parents.
Did you ever give your maid a name?
I did, but I need to open up my character.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll say you summon the bat down to you, whisper the message into its mind, and you send the bat off to go find her.
Perfect. And I think I think her name was Marisa.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's hope they're alive. And because I just went here to do this. It would be so embarrassing if I had to come back the next day. Yeah, I'll get some groceries for everyone, and I'll go back.
Okay. You wander out into the street. You end up back at the Prancing Centaur, where everyone is quite buzzed and high on amazing Marquet mules that were consumed, and a kind of celebration that the shop is being set up and organized. There's inventory on the shelves. There's a sense with Thorn, who had stayed behind to kind of run the shop where you guys were off doing different things, although Thorn had his own kind of interaction with the debris and damaged area of the Smolder Spire, while allowing Professor Jabaltros to keep an eye on him. Eventually getting everyone back to the Prancing Centaur. It's looking more like a shop. You guys gather, have your remaining drinks. Is there anything anybody wants to do before we click a long rest? You're all back together again at this point.
Pretty sure Ford is sauced by this point. So.
Pretty much, yeah.
Besides
that,
vomiting,
everyone go ahead and click off a long rest. It is now the next morning. Day 3 since opening the shop, I think, or since acquiring the shop.
26 more days to pay 500 gold to Grum.
Yes. Thank you for the reminder of that.
If you have the spare gold, you can always pay it early.
Right.
What, because he gave us some of his own goods and said those would be deducted from the ultimate cost we owe him, what portion of our sales yesterday were his goods, if any?
I would say about 10%. So you can deduct 10% of what you earned from what you're going to owe by the end of the month.
What did we make, like 160 gold?
I feel like it was like...
What was that? 2 sessions ago.
No, it was last session.
It looks like I got 30 gold, so it was probably 150 gold total if we were dividing it 3 ways.
Yeah, and I think it was not like a round number in the sense of divided evenly, because I think we gave you a couple extra gold.
Okay.
So you set everything up.
All right, well, should we say, 14 gold then, if we're rounding down, 14 gold deducted from our 500 gold obligation.
So yeah,
486 gold.
486.
It's only
Every little bit helps.
gold, you guys.
D&D has never been more realistic.
Hey, look, Kremp is kind of like a billionaire CEO at this point. Right? So, and we're trying to knock him off. So
This is our start.
he's also augmenting people that he wants to augment, but not necessarily everybody, and not for free, certainly.
Jesus Christ, this is too... No, it's too real.
Crimp's like, I would really like to introduce to you to my new special item I'm selling. I call it Neuron Link. It's a crystal that you place in the middle of your forehead, and it grows crystalline structure into your brain, pulling out your extra ability to be super narcissistic and slightly douchey.
Why are we still in the city? We could go to the Feywild. We can go anywhere.
So with that, you guys wake up the following morning. The streets and the Fated Bridge are alive as usual. The trades spaces are open. You can hear the different shops opening. Who's opening the shop for the day?
I think Jabaltros is.
Okay.
I'm a professor. I'm used to getting up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah. As the 4 of you come downstairs, actually you come down to the veranda level, where the workshops, or where bedrooms are on the veranda level, the workshops are above the veranda level, but there's a common room that you guys kind of use to do a meal. And Professor Jabaltros, you can tell, was already up and ready, He's got, you could like smell tweed and pipe tobacco in the air. And there's an unusual amount of coffee and pastries on the table, along with some other things. So you guys have a small meal waiting for you when you wake up. And you can hear Professor Jalbatros down below kind of talking with customers and occasionally hearing the chime of the door bell, kind of the silver tinker bell that hangs over the door frame, kind of making that sound of people coming and going. It feels like now the site, like the outside traffic of people walking back and forth is closer than usual. Like, you know, people are going into Grung's and coming into your shop, and they're going into other shops nearby. The place feels a little bit more alive. Professor Jalbatros, you see a very tall, slender elf come into the store. By description, he looks pretty familiar. It appears that Fabian is stopping by. Fabian walks over. Oh, somebody new with their group. This is fantastic. What is your name, my Aarakocran snack?
I'm Professor Thaddeus Horatio Eliphalet Jalbatros. I find myself in town, and while I do appreciate a compliment from as distinguished an elf as you, I regret I am a married bird, but Albatross is made for life, you know. Oh God,
that sounds like a duck reference, but that's fine. Anyways, you're stunning. I love your plumage, and look at what you've all done. This place is fabulous. It's gorgeous. It's very working chic. I like it.
Good that it didn't call us rustic too.
It would have been rustic if I was at the counter.
All you need is just some paints of gray and green out front. It would be positively Eastern Marquet. The little red brick touch.
I feel so deeply insulted.
Like Tally's upstairs eating a muffin, and every time Fabian says something, it's like... Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Are your friends in, perhaps?
I think that a lot of them haven't quite woken up for the day. I expect them to be filtering in. Well,
would they be upstairs?
I'll be honest, I'm sorry?
Would they be upstairs?
Some of them, surely. I'll be honest, this is my first morning here.
Pleasure to meet you. He just kind of grabs a nearby cookie off one of the baskets and heads up the stairs. The four of you sitting in the common room see Fabian come in onto the veranda level of the shop. He kind of, well, look at you, all in business and looking like you want to be a part of the society that is here. The Chandei Quorum. The Chandei Quorum would be so proud. Oh, Melody, good to see you. Good to see you, of course. Eritrea, always a tasty little tidbit to be able to see you. Karina, looking... what visage is Karina in today, by the way?
She is Sour Ron.
Sour Ron?
Very unappealing.
Has Fabian met Sour Ron yet?
I think,
yes.
Yeah. He
that's right.
They had to alter the clothes.
Right. Yeah. Sour Ron, good to see you again. Interesting name. Fawn, looking gloomy as ever, but good to see you. Oh, you have pastries. You mind if I sit down and have a cup of tea and a snack while you guys are eating?
Of course. Welcome in.
He flourishes his jacket behind him and pulls at his hair and looks around, snags a muffin here and a crumpet there and puts them on the plate, pours a little bit of tea. You watch as he closes his eyes and he uses a little bit of prestidigitation to heat up the tea and kind of warm up the muffin at the same time and starts snacking on it. Well, I met your friend downstairs. I'm just going to call him Fatty. He said a whole bunch of names that I can't remember, but I like just the idea of calling him Fatty. It seems to work. What happened to the big ATM machine by chance? The one that I sold the hat to? Where is he?
He was in an accident and broken.
An
Beyond
accident and broken.
He fell.
Oh my. Well, that's unfortunate. He seemed positively scary and interesting at the same time. He was quite a delight. Although I would catch him mumbling about what it would be like to flay human beings for the purposes of study. I just assumed that was, irreverent programming in his magical edifice of being a Warforged. But, he'll be missed. Are all of you all right? You said an accident. No foul play, I hope.
But he was, after he fell, he was carried away by Crimp and melted down before we could recover him.
We were chasing after a lead down in the Ember Spire, and we split up to chase after him. And by the time we got rounded back up, Eritrea and I caught glimpse of the components of trauma being offloaded in carts out
Yes,
of the
that's
mine.
right. You guys were asking me a great deal of questions about how to find Crimp last night. Did any of that help by chance?
Well, we found him. One of him. Some of him. Several
Yes.
of them.
What did you
How do we
think?
describe that? How do we? There were a lot of it.
Well, I'm not surprised. He's a powerful artifice for sure. He lives a very reclusive life. I've always heard that he's a bit of a augmentier. He likes to make experiments and play with the idea of remaking things. Was he as interesting as I had hoped?
I would say he was interesting, not in an unnecessarily positive way, though.
Oh, do tell.
Sauron is observing Fabian very thoroughly right now. Like, does this feel like he's come in here for a specific reason?
Give me an insight check.
We really need to have at least one wise character. It's like always the glaring omission in our...
Well, to be fair, Forn, a wise character that cares.
Yeah, I'm like,
Relatively wise.
I've got a +2 to wisdom, so. But specifically insight, I've got a +4 because
I also have a +4, which makes it a 14, which is it's still not very
You definitely pick up on the fact that he's making small talk. He's trying to get to the point, but he's practicing the art of good graces. He's making small talk.
Okay, well, Sauron's character is that nobody likes him, so I might as well. What do you want?
Oh, sorry. I prattle on. I apologize. A family member of a friend of mine has gone missing. They went out on a little skiff trip down into the jungles below at the base of the high tree.
That's a stupid thing to do.
Well, but the base of the high tree is normally a secure place to go to. It's a very popular place to go. Often young people who are in love or seek to have a day to themselves will journey down to the base of the high tree. There's a bit of a presence down there of wardens and others that keep that area safe. It allows you access to the trails that take you into different directions of the wilds. I owe them a favor. Now, I can't share their name because the Chandei Quorum is quite difficult to deal with at times. And my particular business that I'm in, which is the business of information and gaining people's favor, I was wondering if you and your friends, Sauron, could make your way down to the high tree and see if you could find out what had happened to this poor young lady.
How can we find her if we don't know anything about her? And why should we do it anyway?
You are so grumpy. Listen, You watch as he casts an illusion spell, like a minor illusion spell, and there's a figure of a female human in kind of like silver, like a silver linen tunic with a kind of red and black flamed pair of leather pants with high black boots, bright curly yellow hair, kind of just bouncing around like it's uncontrollable. A bit of a alabaster look to her face. This is she goes by the name Prin, but her real name is Princella. She is a daughter of one of the members of the council. I use this member of the council to pass information back and forth when certain things are on the horizon. If you could just make an inquiry, head down to the high tree, snoop about, see if you can figure out what happened to her. She hasn't been back in 3 days. She's been gone now. The family member is quite beside themselves. And of course, I can provide a finder's fee if you do recover her.
Does the family have any enemies?
Chandei Quorum have plenty of enemies. That is part of the unfortunate truth of it. They did have an escort that went with them. The woman is in a relationship with a member of House Treshy. I don't know who he or she is. I just know that Princella is missing and someone's willing to pay me, and therefore by connection to you, a chunk of change to locate her and bring her back.
Do you know anything else about the partner and the bodyguard?
I believe they are House Treshy guards that accompanied them. That's all I know. I have no idea who her partner is. It could be anybody. I can tell you this much. The contact within the Chandei Quorum did not feel it was safe to share that person's name. That much I did figure in the conversation with them. While they didn't come out and straight said it, I have a funny feeling this is not a approved relationship. However, it's currently being tolerated.
Are you
Melody
familiar?
is eating this up. She's loving it.
Are you familiar with any of her former lovers or friends?
No, I am not, unfortunately. Do not have access to that info.
Well, you know, we do have a shop running right now, and there's only 5 of us in the building. If perhaps you might stick around for the day, spend a little time behind the counter. Not only would it give us a good presence, we could also deduct some small sum from your finder's fee.
I will do you one even better. I was on my way here to offer up this opportunity of reward through an exchange of a construct that I had recently been provided a few months ago. Personally, I don't really require it, but there was a gift from a friend from Amon, and I didn't feel like turning Gilmore down for it. He can be a very insistent, lovely person. Give me a moment. You watch as he kind of calls out off the veranda, "A binder, would you come in here, please?" Professor Jalbatros from down below, the door opens. A 4-foot tall, like bronze and copper humanoid looking construct with arms, legs, hands, a kind of purposeful built clockwork face, kind of walks by you. "Good morning." Walks right by you, goes up the stairs, comes up the stairs to stand like looking around. "Yes, Fabian, what do you require of me?" "Oh, Binder, good to see you. My friend Binder. I believe he can run your shop for you. He never gets tired. He can memorize, and here's the beauty of it. I think you'll love. 3 times a day, he can identify things without an effort. Simply looks at the magic item and identifies it for you. He's got some inherent traits as well. He can detect magic. He does not require any kind of rest. All you have to do every morning is cast at least a level 1 spell into his power stone, and he can function for you for the 24-hour period. That way, freeing up all of you to do me this favor.
Does this guy have any personality?
Yes, I have all the personality you would like me to have.
You're no trauma,
Just
though.
tell me what personality you want me to have, and I will have it.
Boo.
Melody is running to get Trauma's hat to see if it fits on Binder.
No, you can't. It belongs to trauma.
Too soon! Too soon!
Forn, you should give our wonderful friend one of your tokens so we can reach out to him.
Of course.
And kind of Ron turns away from him and give Forn like eyebrows.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
thinking
he's
of mustache.
Oh my god.
in hopes that it communicates, please drop more than one token.
Yeah.
Moment.
But you're asking me to decorate it. Okay, I guess I can decorate it. Melody might be better for this, but so I got put a mustache-looking thing on him, like a couple of eyebrows,
Little handlebar mustache.
Un-
a little handlebar mustache, pale white handlebar mustache, and like eyebrows.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant on Fabian, so we can spy on him a little after this.
But I love the mustache on Binder so much. Like a little, sort of like a walrus, like mustache.
He kind of awkwardly walks over to Arrow Trio and looks them up and down and kind of looks at all of you. I am capable of many things. If you'd like me to be happy, I can be happy. And you watch as the creepy smile lights up. If you'd like me to be sad, I can be sad. And it like lights downward. And it's even weirder now that he's got this faux mustache like on his metal upper lip. And his like crystal diode eyes always kind of like dilate in and dilate out every time he talks. You can hear the kind of whirring and gearworks in his chest. But he seems capable, and Fabian doesn't seem to be too put off by giving him out to you guys to use.
I'm gonna assume he's mining our data.
You thought ahead of me. I was going to ask Fabian, what's the catch here? I mean,
No
I
catch.
greatly appreciate the gift.
Well, it's not a matter of catch. This is what we call a bribe. You find Princella for me. Binder here runs your shop. And this is the beginning of a relationship that I think will work very well for all of us.
You know, if you had some articles of clothing you're having trouble selling in your neck of the woods, I'm sure they'd go very quickly out of our doors.
Oh, dear boy, the clothing that I sell has a very specific purpose. Don't worry. Just try out Binder for a bit. If he works out for you, great. Keep him and use him. If not, you can send him back. But I think you'll find him to be quite helpful if you and your friends were to go shopping. He can carry an exceptional amount of load. He is very calculable within the manifestation of understanding value of coin and currency. He's got some skill with that as well. He has, I think the fact that he doesn't sleep is perfect. Unfortunately, I'm looking for very specific tailors to be in my service. And while I'm very gracious of Gilmore's gift, I don't necessarily want to go to waste either. I figured since you guys are just getting started here in Jrusar, and you did me that wonderful favor with the Greymaker's auction, wearing the incredible clothing. By the way, quite a hit, even though the end of the night was quite not a hit. Some very interesting networks have been established, and maybe in the future I can share them with you.
So Ron again is turning away from Fabian and giving Forn the eyebrows, puts 2 tokens on him so we can listen to him later. Eyebrows.
I'll nonchalantly get up and kind of walk around behind Fabian and kind of like do the hands on the shoulders thing. Like,
Oh, Fawn, you are so good at that.
thank you, sir.
Oh,
And
right
I'm
there
gonna
at the
try
base of the neck, if you would, please. I find myself working very diligently, lifting my wine glass to my mouth, and it just puts a bit of a cramp in my neck. And oh, there you go.
and I'm gonna try and drop a couple of tokens on him, like while doing that.
Give me sleight of hand as you do it.
Certainly. That's a nat 20 plus 5. So
25. I'll say you
25.
successfully put one token deftly put under the cuff of his collar, knowing that he and you seal it to the collar in such a way that's really well hidden. And I'll say the second one you drop into the inner silken tunic that he's wearing into a small pocket, so that it can't really be immediately seen.
Well, Fabian, I do greatly appreciate this service you brought us, as well as the work. I would say, friends, perhaps we ought to, first introduce our binder, you called him. Perhaps we ought
That's
to
my
introduce-
name. I can be anything you'd like. I can be your
Sauron
friend.
considers punching
I
him
can
in the
pretend
head
to be your
if he,
enemy. I can
develops
sell your
conscious-
stuff. I can pawn your stuff. I can scratch the calluses off your feet. I mean, anything you'd like me to do, I can do it.
Not all of us have feet, but I thank you, Binder. Perhaps right now we ought to see how you care for the shop. I would like to observe first before obviously setting you free. So to
Isn't
speak.
there a trio over on the there? How's he over there?
He's coming.
No, Albatross, I'm sorry. The professor.
Oh yes, Thaddy, of course. Anyways,
yeah.
Let me know as soon as you find anything out. I'll be at the Silver Time, making my own inquiries. If I learn of anything new, you will be the first ones to know. And he stands up and pops the last bit of the blueberry muffin into his mouth, pats Binder on his head. Now you be a good boy, Binder. Don't get into any trouble. I am not capable of trouble. Well, I am capable. Yes, sir. And just kind of, stutters back towards Fabian as he comes down the stairs. And you hear Fabian down below. My gorgeous professor, you've been replaced. Good day. And you hear the door kind of close as Fabian just kind of heads out into the streets.
So you want me to spy on him now, or do you want to wait?
Let's try now. Let's see if he's gonna talk to somebody right away.
Fair. So I'll sit down and I'm gonna burn the one that's in the pocket.
Okay.
For 1 minute. It's 1 minute. See and hear.
Hey, bud.
You see and hear him walking through the crowded Faded Bridge marketplace. He stops at a couple stores to buy a couple things. And at the end of that minute, he's heading over to the Lantern Spire to head back up to his shop.
Did he buy anything weird?
No, they were food-based items and drink-based items. Mumbling something about a date that he has this evening.
That man puts away a lot of.
Who is Fabian dating? Because now we've heard a reference to him dating a couple times. This is what Melody wants to know, and Alexa. Can I make a history check? When Karina and I were sort of hobnobbing at that spa, did I hear any gossip about a Princella?
Oh, yeah. Give me a history check. See if that name popped up at all.
Okay. Dirty one.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, no recollection at all of her name being mentioned.
Oh,
at the
man.
spa.
I think it was the whole Eritrea thing that kind of threw
That
you
was
guys
pretty
off,
distracting.
because you guys cornered Eritrea there, probably forgot everything else. So.
can Karina also see if she just recognizes the name from anywhere?
Sure, give me a history check. I mean, you have a little bit more exposure with House Loomis and some of your own grifting that's been going on. So you might have heard of the name.
The world doesn't want us to know about her. I have a +5 and I got a 1, so it's a 6.
Doesn't sound familiar to you. Yeah, no recognition. The Chandei Quorum is a very kind of reclusive council-based organization that sits up in the, up in the upper tiers of the core spire. They are not known to mingle or purposely kind of be in the common areas. Often they will take small skiffs over to the Airy Spire if they're going to catch an airship to go somewhere, or they might go and utilize one of the teleportation circles that are offered by the many different houses that have favor with the Chandei Quorum, especially House Treshy. House Treshy is one of the few houses that has a pretty open policy for folks that might need to use a teleportation circle to go to different regions of Marquet, as well as go to different areas within Exandria.
I guess. How do you guys want to start? Do we want to go to the tree, or do we want to see if we can ask some questions? Any
Can any of us cast illusions at all?
I can disguise myself.
I can see if I can turn into her and see if that elicits any response in any areas.
Hey, bud. Come on.
We'll keep that part in our pocket. I was wondering because, we don't really have a photo of her. We just have the illusion that we saw from Fabian. So if we go down looking for somebody, we can describe them. But if we had that photo or the ability to show such things, it might make it easier to track.
Sadly, I don't have minor illusion right now.
Well, perhaps we head on down to the great tree.
Let's do it.
Let's head out.
How do you guys want to try to get down there? Normally, the only way down there is hiring a skiff.
There you go.
Trauma maybe had the right idea about freeing one of these skiffs from their employment, but for now, perhaps we need to find where's the nearest skiff shop to the bridge.
Is it short enough that we could fly there?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Possibly. As far as you know, the high tree is down at the very base of the core spire. And within the base jungle area of the core spire is the trails, these roads that lead out into the other communities of the Odoran Wilds. As long as you stay on those trails for the most part, or you stay within the high tree section, you're usually pretty safe. Most people take skiffs down because they don't typically have the ability to fly. From your vantage point, between the Lantern, Lucet, and Core Spire, it's maybe a 300-400 feet flight down into the base of the high tree station.
That might be faster.
Yeah, why don't we just... does anyone want to carry me down?
I certainly don't fly myself.
I could get you, dear.
That's about as charming as I've ever heard Air Trail. Wow. Awfully forward.
At this point, I think, has Dr. Albatross even come up? Because I think I'd just be like, so I have questions, my construct friend. Just try to chat with him for a little bit.
I'll say the four of them and Binder come down to talk to you about what Fabian had said. So Binder's just standing there alongside the counter where people would bring things up to purchase them. So you guys are all downstairs in the shop. There's maybe 4 or 5 people currently browsing the shop.
Professor, go ahead, Corinna. Excuse me, it's our Ron.
Actually, I think I'm gonna be legal ass for this.
legal ass.
Legal.
Well, no, I think he'd be a more appealing person to ask a question. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
sour
everyone dressed up like we're heading to this high tree to hang out, because that's clearly the vibe. So,
Sure. I don't. I only dress one way.
Treo.
I only dress one way, but certainly.
Melody's
guess-
got a crop top on.
Yes.
Who needs armor?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Up top, armor level 16.
Like just the breastplate that's just the breastplate with like
Right.
leather strap on the
Yeah, with one of Melody's wardrobe choices.
It's like it's athleisure all the time, but the like ath is like plate mail.
I guess if we're all just getting ready as legal ass, I would like to talk to some of our patrons and just kind of have small talk with them, see if anything comes up.
Give me a persuasion check as you kind of mingle with a few of the patrons to have a quick conversation with them.
22.
22. One of the gentlemen is currently examining some of the many kind of alcoholic items that you guys had procured, as well as some of the spices and stuff. He's tall and thin. He's got a bit of a wispy beard. He's wearing green, gray, and blue attire that tells you that he's got money, but there's no insignia on him that tells you anything more than that about him. Pretty tall, short cropped, black hair, kind of neatly kept up on the top and slightly forward. He's got some rings on his hands, some jewelry around his neck. He just kind of sees you kind of walk towards him. Well, hello. I must say, I don't remember what was here in this shop before, but I really love what you have done with the place. Are you the new owner?
Thank you. Yes, I am. I am the main person here.
Oh, fascinating. Always good to be in with the proprietor of such a place. These spices, some of my favorites, as well as some of these cooking oils as well. I'm curious. I was set to purchase similar spices directly from the Ares Spire. The ship unfortunately was unable to be. I couldn't get to my product. I'm in a bit of a hurry and a bit of a bind. Could I buy a good portion of these spices? Would you be willing to give me a bit of a discount?
Tali is not good at this, but my character is. I'm just gonna try and make him feel like he's getting a discount, but really upcharge as much as I can.
You're gonna Black Friday him.
Yes, I'm gonna Black Friday him!
You're gonna raise the price and then say we discounted 50%.
I'm gonna really try and get him.
Do you want to do deception or persuasion? What do you think?
I did just get 22 on persuasion. Does that count?
Don't you have distort value too?
Not at the moment. I never have a 22.
We'll go off that 22. He's already kind of like pulled into your personality. And he looks over to see Professor Jabaltros kind of teaching Binder, the inventory. Melody, Foreign, and Eritrea are kind of off to the side, patiently waiting to get going. The gentleman kind of, very well, let me... See, the camera was going fine until just now. No, it won't. Once it goes beyond a few seconds, I got to reset it. Give me 1 sec. So annoying. Well, listen, you seem spirited, and you have a beautiful shop. I will tell you what. I'm going to give you 100 gold for these 8 spice containers, if you don't mind.
Come on, Charles.
Karina's gonna try and negotiate it a little bit higher.
Fine, 125. That's the best I could do. I'm in a bit of a hurry.
I understand. We're happy to help get you out of that bind. By the way, where are all these going? Maybe we can ship them for you.
Oh, well, there's a reception meal being hosted tonight up in the Chandei Quorum. Although it was quite strange, I was told that there would be a possibility of it being cancelled due to some emergency that was going on, but I'm still hopeful that my food delivery and my expectation of attending are still going to happen. But this will go perfectly with the catered meal that me and my group are cooking and presenting to the reception.
Oh wow, that's so exciting. And a perfect match, because these are the best spices you're gonna find anywhere. They are perfect for cooking.
Fine, 135 gold. That's literally all I have on me. I do not have a copper more. All I've got.
Oh, I wasn't angling, but thank you.
Sure sounded like you were, but fine. He puts a small bag of coin in your hand and takes the 4 containers. Well, anyways, pleasure meeting you, and your shop is quite amazing.
Thank you. Also, if you are somebody who needs spices on a regular basis for your cooking, we can give you a repeated customer discount in the future. So please let us know.
Oh, of course. Quite pleasant. Thank you. He just kind of takes his things, turns, and heads out the door. Professor Jalbatros gets Binder completely caught up on the inventory. And as the 5 of you kind of stand there, Binder, a patron comes up. Binder steps up on a slightly tall stool to be, head and shoulders over the counter. Kind of looks at the patron. That'll be 12 gold, please. And you watch as the patron puts 12 gold. He slides his hand over it, slides it into the storage box, and then gently pushes the item towards the patron. Pleasure doing business with you. Come again.
I'm gonna look over at Melody like, was that really 12 gold worth of stuff?
I think so. I'm not really tracking this stuff, to be honest.
Karina's gonna take 50 gold from the purchase she just made and then be like, hey, you guys, I got us almost 100 gold.
Oh, man.
You watch
What
as
do you mean
Karina drops
almost?
85, Karina drops 85 gold into the storage till since she's choosing to keep the other 50.
Hey, Binder, does that calculate 8 boxes of spices there? Does that all calculate?
That was 4 containers of spices. Each of the containers cost you 12 gold apiece, and Karina sold it for double the intended value. So, yes, Karina did good.
Nice work, Karina.
Thank you. And he seemed, and I told them about the meal and also about the fact that she could.
I also watched them exchange the coin. She's keeping 50 gold.
Oh
first.
my god, I hate you. I miss Trauma. I hate you so much. Trauma would have been on my side. This is ridiculous. I put the 50 gold back out. I hate all of you.
Look, your parents have all this money. Why? What is this like a? I heard tell of a famous stage theatric lady named Wine on a Rider, and
Yes,
she just
yes,
really
I'm
loves
working
to
on
go
it
out
right
and
now.
steal from
Oh,
town.
why?
Whole situation, okay? I can't control it.
Now, thank you for being so honest.
I hate this machine. Let's throw it out.
I
Perhaps
think he's doing a great job. And he looks very cute in his oversized top hat.
He's a Trauma knockoff, and I kind of punch it in the head a little bit.
Oh.
The head spins, and he grabs it. Oh, that's quite all right. I will try to do better next time. I suspect that your friend Karina might be inclined to steal on a regular basis. I will continue to keep an eye on her.
thank you.
Maybe I'll knock some sense into him eventually.
Now, we were headed down to the big tree. But you were saying, sorry, you started to say something before you were swindling us out of 50 gold about perhaps there was some party or something tonight, something or other.
Yeah, and they mentioned some kind of emergency that almost canceled the meeting. Listen, anything that Chandei Quorum is doing that is... Also, did I get the address from the guy, or did I forget?
No, he didn't mention it.
Did you get this gentleman's name by chance?
Nope.
Wow, I really, really...
But at least you
Rolled
got
a
some
great
gold, right?
persuasion and it got gold off of him, but you forgot to ask his name or where he was located.
Did I get the name of the business that he has? That's... Well, never mind. Forget that lead. Let's go. Please.
Chandei Quorum, big meeting, maybe going to cancel at last minute for some problem. You never know. We might be related to it.
They're always having meals, and they're always having trouble. So, in a way, this is nothing.
All right. Well,
Karina
perhaps we
is...
shall be on our way now.
I think so. So can Jalbatros carry both me and Forn?
I think he's pretty beefy.
I'm a beefy boy. It's possible.
He carried me and Melody before, so
Oh.
you're a mite shorter than Melody.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can always change to something smaller. If wait, Jalbatros doesn't know that I'm a changeling yet, or he's probably figured out.
I mean, suddenly there's some random fella around here, and we act like it's no problem. So.
Okay.
Or we just are really accepting of strange people in our abode. It's that Fey hospitality.
Does anybody else have any thing that they would like to bring with them for this? Or anything they would like to check on before we go?
Before we take off, you said our little construct guy, he can identify 3 items per day?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to point out to everyone, I was going to ask Corinna to do this last night, but never had the opportunity. I would, if we don't find anything on our adventures, I would like to ask our friend here to identify this armor that I acquired when we met that crimp fellow. It seems decent, but I don't know anything about it. So, just I understand completely if it doesn't happen. But let's try to keep on reserve, at least for today, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So, which armor was this?
I have no idea. It was
leather. It was fancy leather armor that the guy that got shot through the chest was wearing, or no, the chef was wearing.
The butcher was wearing.
Butcher, yeah.
Okay. You want Binder to identify it for you?
I was going to wait until the end of the day, just in case we have to use it for a couple of other things.
All right. You guys head out into the busy area of the market and the walkway. You head over to the south gondola platform, knowing that might be one of your better areas to kind of leap off and head down into the Odoran wilds. Supposedly somewhere down at the base of the Core Spires is a place called the High Tree Station, which is then connected to the trails known as the Honored Trails. And these are the connected walkways that kind of connect the Heartmoor. It connects to all the different regions of the immediate area surrounding Jrusar. And these are the same trails that people would take if they were traveling out in the direction of the eastern ways of going to the Hellcatch, or eventually going up to the north, or going out to the Ashenador or the Panagrip Sands, depending on where people are traveling out of Jrusar, or heading out towards the Rumadam Desert to head out to Ankarel. So there is a network of roads and routes that do connect things down below, but they've always stated, the Wardens will tell you when you arrive at the High Tree Station, they'll be like, just stay on the path, don't stray, these kind of traveler warnings that they'll issue to you. But for you guys, it's relatively simple. You get to the gondola station, you find yourself drifting down quickly, and before long, you're down below the main core spire. Once down below the main core spire, you look up, and it's interesting to watch the city just kind of recede above you. As you get to the edge of the canopy of the jungle growth, you kind of all have to guide your way through the canopy. I need everyone to make either acrobatics I need actually Jalbatros to make either acrobatics or athletics, or Eritrea to make either athletic or acrobatic checks.
I got a 15, 1-5.
Okay. Let me guess, he's getting his dice.
17.
17. All right.
I was fully prepared to tumble into the jungle.
Yeah,
As soon as you
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my dice started rolling good last night again, so
There you go. That's what it's all about. You guys get to the edge of the canopy of the jungle. Once you're through the canopy, the trees here are roughly 40, 50 feet tall. The wilder trees down below, it's like a ecosystem within an ecosystem. As you settle into the tall jungle kind of environment around you, you kind of look around, and everyone give me perception checks as you look around this space that you land in.
-1. Yay.
I got an 11.
I got
19.
18.
I got an 11.
Okay.
11.
18, 11. What'd you get, Karina?
11. No, all three of us got 11.
Wow, that's kind of ironic. What'd you get, Foreign?
19.
19. So arriving down the High Tree Station is relatively simple. As soon as you get through the canopy, down below to the jungle floor, the first thing you notice is that you don't really hear the city anymore. You're below all that. And the canopy makes things a little bit darker down here as well. But the explosion of the jungle sounds make up for the fact that you can't hear the city anymore. Every now and then you can hear the whirring sound of a skiff passing by or overhead. But as you look over towards the High Tree Station, it's a purposely built, very simple block style construct, like a building. You can see about a dozen wardens mingling around, and there are numerous caravan wagons and vardos kind of stationed, and there's horses, and for the first time you're seeing the famous raptors that are used as mounts or potentially used as a means of pulling some of these wagons. Some of the wagons are so colorful, they're clearly guild wagons that are probably traveling outbound. Other wagons are just arriving. There is a couple other smaller buildings and smaller structures here. There doesn't appear to be any ability to stay down here. No tavern, no inn, no real shops to interact with. But the High Tree Station is now becoming its obvious value to you. As you hear this very kind of high-pitched kind of noise, you look up to see an animal land in front of the High Tree Station. And it's massive. Its wingspan, 100 feet. Its body, about 80 feet long. It's red, blue, and yellow plumage. Thorn and Melody, give me nature checks as you look at this thing. And Professor Jalbatros, you can give me history check on it.
All right.
19 for nature.
19? Okay.
I got a 1.
1. Melody's having a very blonde satyr day.
Yeah, it's a tough day for Melody.
Ooh, not bad. That is a 23 history.
Between Professor Jabaltras and Forn, the two of you recognize it as a rock. And normally these beasts are quite feral and dangerous, but this one seems to be tame. You watch as things are being unloaded from the wagons and being loaded onto the back of a palanquin platform that has been secured to the back of this rock. You could see a group of goblin individuals kind of helping load things on. And then there's this very, very kind of tall, regal-looking lizard folk that's dressed in kind of ceremonial attire, looking very shamanistic, but decorated in the colors that the rock, that their feathers are in. It's also part of the platform that sits about the backside of the neck of the rock. You get the feeling it might be the pilot of the rock. As soon as they finish loading all the crates and boxes and barrels on the back of this palanquin, you watch as the rock leaps up into the air and starts arcing towards the canopy and then disappears out of sight, heading upward. You watch as more wagons pile in to unload. Wardens kind of on a patrol nearby. There's trails that crisscross each other. There's roads that crisscross each other. This place is busy. It's active. What would you guys like to do?
Should we try to sidle up to any of the guards first? Perhaps describe our quarry.
Sure.
I mean, I'm certainly not the one to do the talking. I'm more than happy to try.
I think Melody would be a good charmer of information.
I can sidle up to a guard.
I could potentially as well.
We're a very appealing
Very
group.
different kind of sidling, I think. But
So who's approaching the warden?
I'll go up to a warden.
Okay. As the rest of you kind of linger in the background, keeping an eye on things.
I'm
Melody
watching because I want to watch their responses to the.
Okay.
Like, assuming I got an idea of what we're going to talk about, Forn is watching for like any reactions from the warden, subtle reactions from the warden.
Okay. As you approach the warden, Melody, he immediately realizes that you're probably looking for a conversation with them. They take their helmet off, and when they do, she has very long brown hair, heavily scarred right cheek, serious looking eyes, tucks the helmet underneath her arm and looks at you. Is there something I can do for you?
Hey, oh my god, you have, can I just say, the most gorgeous hair. Really beautiful. Didn't see it before you took the helmet off.
Oh, tourist. This place is very dangerous. You should be up above. You should not be down here. You don't strike me as a local. But thank you, I think.
Yeah, of course. No, yes, I totally am a tourist. I'm not from around here. But I heard there's some fun to be had down here by the high tree. Just wondering, like, which direction should I head?
Ah, you're talking about the picnic area that sits on the edge of the wilds. Yes, there are people sometimes come down from above to have a day. It's an old ruin area that not many people really know about. Eventually, some individuals just kind of built tables and built impromptu little garden spots. They come down and have a private meal with each other down there and pretty much spend the day. I personally think it's not safe. We send patrols over there from time to time and check on people and remind them to make sure they don't stay after dark. The high tree station is always closed as soon as it's dark out.
Are there places that people stay overnight?
Not down here. Not without either Chandei Quorum permission, or they are on the services of the Quorum or on the services of the guild house. Usually that comes with permission and other notifications. Typically, we end up over to into the park area and kind of shoo everybody back towards the rock to be taken back up above, or the Sky Blazer, as he's known.
I'm actually I'm meeting a friend down here. I think she came down a couple days ago. Her name's Princella, like really pretty, like blonde curly hair. Have you seen her come through?
Stares at you for a long moment. What's your passive insight?
14.
You definitely pick up on the fact that you feel like they're holding back information.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not lying, but maybe not telling everything they know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, that name doesn't sound immediately familiar to me.
Ooh, I'm so sorry. I feel like I made you nervous or something. Is this like super confidential? She knows I'm coming.
No, sorry, I just haven't heard the name. I'm sure if they're down here, they're probably down here waiting for you. The park is over there. Remember, you have till nightfall. Good luck. She puts her helmet back on and kind of walks away over to where the other wardens are.
Nicholas is gonna push Melody and Eritreo to another warden and say, "Hey, my friends here are on a date. What is a good place for young lovers?"
And I,
Somebody roll cringe.
Trio is evil. He is.
I'd like to try and sneak back up to where that guard went. I would like to try and nonchalantly sneak up nearby them and see if I can eavesdrop on them.
So, Foreign, give me a stealth check.
Sure.
Melody, Eritrea, and Karina, you settled off to yet another warden to ask questions. Professor Jabaltras, what are you doing while this is all going on?
Are there any wardens that look kind of nerdy, or like maybe guarding isn't their biggest thing? Like, you know, they're doing it because their dad was able to wrangle them a spot, something like that.
I love it. Give me a perception or insight check, your choice. What'd you get for it?
I rolled with advantage. I got a 2 and a 19, so that's a 24.
24. Okay.
Oh, thank God. That's an 18. That was about 18? To be 2.
Okay. So, Professor Jabaltras, you catch one individual that looks like he's completely bored out of his mind. He's currently leaning up against an empty wagon. His helmet is kind of like resting on the wagon wheel. His spear leaning up against the wagon. And he's just kind of picking at the wood and the boards of the wagon that make up its its edged wall. He seems like he's stunning. He's like gorgeous. Like his hair is perfect. His facial features are perfect. And he looks bored out of his mind. You get the feeling that he just simply doesn't belong here.
Excuse me, young man. I'm so terribly sorry to bother you. I hope it's not particularly obvious. A tourist is putting it a bit much, but I'm not a local. I'm trying to find some interesting spots around it. Could you recommend anything to me? I'm just an old Aarakocra. I don't know anything about this city.
Give me a persuasion check as you kick off this conversation with them.
Oh, finally something I'm good at. So watch this nat 1 come up. Oh, it's not that bad. It's still not great. That is a 12. Wait a minute, is that a 9 or is that a... no, I apologize. That is a 15. That is a 9.
With an obvious kind of noble air to his voice. Well, frankly, I don't know this place very well. I'm just here to do my responsibility for my parents. I would imagine that if you were to walk straight into the jungle for about a half a mile, you could pretty much find whatever you want.
I mean, do you have any specifics, or is there someone a bit more experienced I might talk to?
Well, look, as far as I know, the number one point that everyone likes to go see is the old ruins on the other side of the High Tree Station. It's not exactly safe, but to be honest, I don't really care. if you're looking for something interesting, go try over there.
Oh, High Tree Ruins. Could you give me that one more time? The name and its location, so I can get my group together. This sounds fascinating.
Yes. You see where I'm pointing at that trail? You follow that trail for about a mile, and then you're at the High Tree Ruins.
Oh, you've been so helpful, young man. Can I get your name? I would love to give a glowing report to your supervisor.
No, thank you. If you do that, it means I'm down here even longer. So, rudeness, I think, will get me back to where I belong first. But you have a lovely day, Mr. Seagull. And he walks away.
Jesus. Smack him.
You see Professor Jrusar sitting there like,
It's like
the adult.
divine energy building.
You're lawful good. You can't. That doesn't mean you can't tell your friends. Your new friends might help, but you can't just wantonly injure a child. That's really not going to go over well with anyone.
For you stealth right past Professor Jabaltros when he's like talking to himself about that, and then you continue to follow the one warden that Melody was talking to. In the undergrowth of the trees, you kind of find a nice space just to keep an eye on her. You watch within about 30 feet of you. She stops to talk to two of the other wardens. Listen, you two. There was someone here asking about that damn missing person report that we got the other day. I don't like the look of them. I think they're from the Quorum. One of the guards looks back at her. Oh, what are we supposed to do about it? We don't know what happened to her. I know, but I'm afraid if it doesn't look like we're at least trying to figure out what happened to her, this will get back to the Quorum and come down harshly on us. Look, the Wardens accept payment from the Quorum, not in the reverse. I'm sure Captain Masterson will see to it any problems arise. Fine. Just keep your eyes open. And if you see anything strange, report it to me. Of course, ma'am. And the two wardens kind of split off. She goes up the stone steps to the front of the High Tree Station to kind of confer with more of the wardens. Karina, deception or persuasion? Your choice. As you convince this bored warden that you're simply looking for an opportunity to entice these two young lovers to have a wonderful day out down here in the High Tree Station.
I'll try persuasion.
Okay.
Because there's no deception in it. It's going to be 19.
19. You can have advantage if you want to help out Melody or Eritrea.
Yeah, I'll help out by just being like doing an over the top performance of being coupley with Eritrea.
Okay.
I'm extremely uncomfortable.
I'll like scratch
One is giving me advantage and one is giving me disadvantage.
Yeah, so the 19 holds. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
The warden kind of stares at the three of you, completely caught off guard. Begins to look around, wondering if there's a hidden artist somewhere taking a secret picture or something. But, kind of looks back at the three of you. Sure. Just take that trail over there and it'll take you to the High Tree Ruins. It's a lovely spot for people that want to have a day's meal together in secret and privacy. Most people stick to the park over there, but there was a young lady here maybe, 3 days ago that had asked a similar question. And we had pointed her towards the High Tree Ruins.
But what's romantic about the High Tree Ruins?
Oh, well, it's an ancient tree that has grown into the remains of a building. The tree itself is 60, 70 feet around, and it's considered to be one of the oldest of the Odolin wild trees from down here. It's got some very unique flora, kind of commingling. It's so old, and it's so tied into the jungle. It's got beautiful colors, and and often people, go there to have some private time together. Its vistas are quite nice too if you climb up into the edges of the tree itself.
Does the building itself has any kind of romantic history or quality to it?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm single myself. I'm not quite in a relationship at the moment.
How does that?
Well, often I'm lonely and look for places to go and drink, and I do have a gambling problem. Maybe that's part of my problem.
I understand.
Oh, and I've got this itch. He pulls at his armor.
No,
He
it's
shows
okay,
you this
honey. No, it's okay. It's
really
okay.
bad
Please.
mosquito bite that looks infected, and he's like, I think maybe too my hygiene might be a bit of a problem as well, as he kind of points at the whelp on his neck.
That's rough, buddy. Do you know anything about that building? Like, why is it there if it's so old that it's become
Don't
part
know.
of the history?
I mean, I'm only 22 years old. I've been a warden in Jrusar for only 3 years. I don't really know a lot of the history. I just know that a lot of people like to go over there and check it out.
So was this girl traveling with someone, or was she on
Yes, she was with a young man.
Ooh.
Did the young man look dashing?
This conversation is getting very uncomfortable for me.
No, wait.
Look, whatever the three of you are into, I'm not your fourth. So you know what? You have fun. Do what you want. I'm gonna go stand over there and pretend you're not here. And he turns and walks away 8 feet to stand on guard, every now and then looking over his shoulder and then turning away to look away from you.
We've really creeped out all the guards here.
A bald Azamar, a satyr, and your obvious matchmaker traveling with you.
I am Legolas.
Legal ass.
Yeah, this doesn't go the way I was hoping it would.
All right. Well, it sounds like these high ruins are pretty sweet. Maybe we should check them out.
Do I see the noble-looking guard anywhere?
The one that Thorn followed?
Jabba
The Nepo baby.
Yeah, the
baby.
Emo
Precious
baby.
Nepo baby.
I would say that you watched as Jabatras and that guard were having the conversation, and the guard eventually just kind of gets bored, and Jabatras is still talking to the guard. The guard just kind of picks up his helmet and spear and just kind of walks away from Jabatras, not really saying much to him other than to point down a trail, and kind of walks over to a drinking well where he's pulling up a bucket and filling up some a drinking container, just kind of content to not really talk to anybody.
Do I recognize him from anywhere?
Give me a history check.
Wow, I'm rolling like shit today. That's gonna be a 10.
I mean, he is stunning looking. He looks completely normal and average. There's nothing about him that looks familiar to you.
Does he seem out of place here?
He seems very out of place here.
Okay, I'll go to him and I'll try to use my Legolas wiles on him.
Your Legolas wiles on
Yes.
him.
Yes, which is more effective than Corina's wiles.
I demand some tally wiles to be commingled with this role play. How do you want to like what does it look like that Legolas is doing to kind of impress or get the attention of this person?
I'm gonna try and look like I hate nature too. And I don't want to be here and I'm too cool for this. And I'm like, just like looking for a like-minded soul who also hates this.
Deception or intimidation or
Perception.
persuasion? I'll let you pick. Because it's
I'll
a little
go
bit of everything, kind of.
I'll give deception a try.
Okay.
That's 18.
I know. I hate this place too. Mosquitoes down here, like the size of birds, have the water. Look at the water. He shows you the water. You can see a bunch of sea monkeys swimming in the water. of the well water that he just pulled up. And look at this. He pulls the edge of his sleeve. There's like a green fungus growing up his arm. Nothing is ever dry down here. It's wet all the time. I am completely naked under this armor because my clothes just mold and rot off my body.
What?
I am a prince's son. What am I doing down here? This is terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Is that TMI? Too much information. Sorry. I might even be running a low-grade fever. I mean, he just kind of looks around. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to do this anymore, but my parents insist I've got to do my time before I earn my way into the council quorums and start my stewardship and go to university and do all the things I have to do. You got to do your yearly mandatory work with the wardens. I hate it. I hate it, and I hate it.
Man, that sucks. You really don't.
So to make sure I'm not in a true fever or a fever dream, was that a seagull that was talking to me, or was that a person?
I don't know the difference.
Oh, are you feverish as well?
No, it's more that I don't know who you're talking about.
This jungle rot is terrible. Just peels the skin right off.
Oh,
Oh,
do I have any medicine on me?
I mean, you probably have a healer's kit that might do a little bit of healing and solve some of the itchy, like nature that he's the scratchy itchiness.
I'll try to help him.
Okay. You kind of like sit him down, you pull out your healer's kit and start interacting with them.
Yeah, man, I think you're hallucinating. That makes sense. Why would a seagull be here?
Born and Jalbatros, what are you two doing at this point?
I'm gonna.
I'll come out of the. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I actually gotta try to not close my window here because it just minimized in a way that makes it impossible to see.
I'm gonna pop out from behind the cover. Like I'm gonna walk out of the jungle where I was, like right up to Jalbatros and be like, "You're not used to talking to people, are you?"
I'm a university professor.
Talking, yeah.
I was deliberately attempting to, well, not deceive the poor lad, but make him think I'm less savvy than I am. Like, if he thinks I'm a tourist.
Sure. Well, look, I gotta listen in on the guards over there that Melody was talking to at first, and turns out they're worried about their jobs, about this Princella or whatever going missing. So sounds like they might cause us trouble when we come back, but for now, just keep an eye on them.
Okay, I'll be sure to do that, Mr. Ford.
Now, look, everyone's saying we ought to go to this ruin. Perhaps I'm a little bit easier to blend in than the rest of you all. I could scout ahead for us, but I think we need to head that direction.
Oh, I was planning on heading that direction regardless. That sounds like an absolutely marvelous chance to explore. Do you know if these rooms have ever been mapped? That I could do things to the store. I could possibly run paper on this when I finally get back.
As he's talking, I walk off. He's like muttering to himself. Ford's just like tips his hat, turns around, and walks away.
Yeah, like as you guys, kind of the four of you gathered together, you can see Karina is over by the well, and she's currently got a little healing kit out, and she's in a conversation with the same person that Professor Jalbatros was in. Karina, you pretty much don't need to make persuasion checks at this point. You've kind of got him at ease alongside you. He's, for the first time, not itching. He doesn't feel miserable as you're kind of applying all the ointments and the treatments and stuff. So what is a person like you doing down here? You clearly don't want to be down here either.
Well, a friend of mine's family member has recently gone missing. And
oh, you're talking about Princella.
You've seen her?
Oh, saw her here 3 days ago. We went looking for her as soon as she was reported missing, but no sign of her or her companion, unfortunately. And the big beefy one up there, she says we shouldn't talk about it with anyone. But you know what? I don't care because I don't want to be here. And she shouldn't have been here. They should have had more than just the 2 bodyguards that were with them. We couldn't even find them either. All 4 of them. No sign whatsoever.
Oh my. Wow, that sounds serious. Wait, we didn't realize she was with somebody. Maybe we can track him down. Do you know anything of what he looked like?
Well, tall fella, brown hair, brown eyes, wore the emblem of House Treshy around his neck. Kind of a thin look about him, a gaunt look about him. You know these rich types, they like me, although I'm not a vegan. He looked like a vegan. You know what vegans look like? Vegans look like they're always sick, if you know what I mean. But sorry, I digress. Nothing really to write home about. I mean, he was a good-looking man, but it was the House Treshy symbol that got me. Normally, House Treshy doesn't mingle with Chandei Quorum, so I was a little surprised to see that. Of course, my parents teach me all the importance of gossip, and I recognized them for who they were.
Huh. Did you get to talk to them at all?
No, I overheard the sergeant up there. She had given them directions over to the High Tree Ruins. Although it was interesting, while they seemed to be behaving as if they've just come down here to picnic, they didn't have anything with them that said that that's what they were doing. In fact, he looks around. If you go halfway down the trail and go slightly off the trail, the sergeant had the other wardens hide the skiff. The skiff's still down here.
Oh, wow. Man, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you remember from them?
Not really. They were not very interesting people. Not like me.
Yeah, what is an interesting person like yourself doing, like, no offense, in this shithole?
I'm just doing my yearly requirement. It's halfway done. You look like a rich person. Are you a rich person?
I shouldn't say.
Oh, you're definitely rich if you're responding that way. Listen, my name's Dirk. Dirk Delmsworth. I'm with House Delmsworth. We do a lot of the spice trades between here, the Ashenador, and the Hellcatch. We actually do quite a bit of work with the capital of Hell's Catch, King's. I forget the name of it because I don't have my notes up. Let me get my notes up, and then I can tell you exactly what I'm trying to tell you, which is I couldn't hear you, Kurt.
King's Fall?
Yes, thank you. King's Fall. We're setting up a new trading house there. Now that the Civil War has calmed down, my father is convinced that there's opportunity.
No way. I have a friend who also works in the spice trade.
Oh, fascinating. Perhaps we can get together sometime and talk shop.
Sounds like a plan. And does Karina have like a P.O. box or something?
I mean, you live at the Prancing Centaur.
Yeah, but I'm pretending to be rich.
That's true. I mean,
On layers on layers of
the,
lies.
I mean, there is the House Loomis messaging service that's used throughout the city, either with the ravens or the owls that travel and traverse, sending messages back and forth throughout the city. So a common reference for you would be to drop a line to the House Loomis, the House Loomis Roost is what's usually referred to.
I got you. You know what? I'll give you my location and the location of the person I was talking about. I'm kind of out a lot, and I put the House Loomis place, and I put the Prancing Centaur.
Oh, well, thank you. It's Could always make new connections.
And
Well,
hey,
an hour's worth of getting rid of this itch has been nice.
And I kind of whisper, and you know what? I do know some people in the like, what do they call this like thing that he's doing?
He's basically doing his 1-year service with the warden.
Oh.
Every established house within Jrusars required by the Chandei Quorum to, anyone between the ages of like 18 and 24 have to do a year's worth of warden service.
With the warden services, I mean, you could be reassigned to I look around in disgust, more pleasant location.
Would be amazing. Love administration duty. That would be so much more pleasant than this humidified, rotten jungle. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Kind of nonchalant, cool man. We'll work on that. And
eventually the 5 of you gather up nearby.
I tell them what he told me.
Okay. So you guys are all now aware of everything that Karina has learned. Professor Jabatros, do you also share what you've learned as well? Okay.
Yep.
Foreign?
Yeah, of course. The guards I talked to, the guard Melody talked to, I listened in. She really doesn't know where anybody is down here. They're worried about their jobs on this, so I assume we're gonna have some difficulty returning. But if you say the skiff is hiding in the trees, perhaps that offers us an out.
I mean, it'd be a good place to start, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we should take a look at the skiff and then head to the ruins.
Sure. He said halfway down the trail.
Yeah. It is weird. It is weird that they're hiding it to this extent.
Did he say that the warden said to hide the skiff?
Did he say that?
Yeah, what I heard. That's what I noted.
I knew I got bad vibes from her because she freaked out as soon as I mentioned Princella. They're definitely concealing something, but it feels like they're going really far if they're concealing the skiff.
We should also be on high alert because if they are in any way co-conspirators, we have all made ourselves very obviously on their trail.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm a bit stealthy. I can probably dip in and take a look at the skiff as you guys walk down the path. I was assuming I was going to stay as discreet as possible through this tracking operation.
I kind of feel like Professor Jalatros is just like, man, I hope I don't come off as overly conspicuous. And just kind of looks at it. Just a black cup that you just like, I'll just, I'll be the distraction, shall I?
I would like to do some detect magic and detect and identify on the skip in case there was any kind of interference.
So is everyone heading to find the skiff at this point?
Mm-hmm.
As you guys, excuse me, as you guys walk away from the High Tree Station and you begin to follow the path that you were designated to, you get far enough away that you're now out of ear and eye shot of the wardens that are staying back closer towards the main outpost of the High Tree Station. And as you get further down this trail, you begin to see obvious signs that something was going on here. Everybody give me survival checks as you start examining the trail and try to pick up on where the skiff might be located.
Oh, I got 17.
Oh.
Ha! I got a 1, but it is not a crit fail. It is a 2 minus 1.
You got a dirty 1.
I got I mean, technically, isn't that a clean 1? But yeah.
No, it's a dirty 1 because it's still modified.
Yeah.
8.
8?
Yeah.
No, you're not a very good bounty hunter, Kurt.
Sneaking
What'd you
is
get,
good.
Eritrea, for your survival check?
He had to step away for a second, but yeah, we should just keep going.
Okay. So, looking along the trail, there's obvious signs that people come through here. Hard to tell how recent. There is about 1,000 feet off the main trail into a sunken kind of pit of tall grass and tall overgrowth. You could see the back end of a skiff sticking in like a weird angle. You immediately pump out Detect Magic, Karina, and you pick up the broomstone effect of the skiff. It still has a vibration of magic that's kind of humming in the background of your Detect Magic. You kind of lead everybody out of the tall grass, and here's this, 30-foot long, 15-foot wide skiff, maybe big enough for 5 people max to be able to use it. There's a small helm station on the rear end that's kind of sticking up out of the ground. There's obvious signs of, somebody tried to use it and then maybe crashed it. You guys get the feeling that wherever it was once before, someone moved it over here and didn't know what they were doing and kind of crashed it into the ground. There are some structural damages. Because you use the identify spell as well, Karina, it identifies as the vault, the SS Vault, which is a small skiff of magical means. The broomstone is still active, so the magic is still active, but the structural integrity of the small skiff looks to be a little bit compromised.
Is any of us any good at identifying what might have been what might have caused the destruction of the vessel?
Yeah, I was gonna either investigate or perceive, do investigation.
Yeah, you do
perception,
investigation as you watch. Karina points to the certain damaged areas and points to the area of the skiff where the broomstone magic is kind of pulsing from.
It's an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
I mean, there's damage, but you're not entirely sure what caused the damage.
I assume Thorn's more distracted by trying to. The looking for that's distracting him from. He was gonna look at it and see what signs of what may have come with, what if they wrote it down here. Was there anything left or any signs of what they may have carried in the skiff with them when they came down?
It looks surprisingly empty. There's no signs of any kind of detritus, crates, barrels, or weaponry. It just kind of looks like an empty skiff that was tried to move or be moved, and it ended up in this spot.
Are there any identifying marks on the skiff?
Other than the fact that it identifies as the vault, give me an investigation check as you see if there's any specific markings on it.
17.
17. As you kind of begin to look around the edges of the boat or the skiff, there is there's an emblem that you recognize as the Chandei Quorum emblem that's on it. So this skiff probably belongs to the family of Princella, and its marking is on the side. So it's definitely a Chandei Quorum skiff.
Weird.
Eritrea, do me a favor. Give me a charisma save, if you would, please.
Absolutely. 13.
You get the distinct feeling that you're being watched by something magical. Your Azamir presence recognizes that a celestial creature is watching you. It's a feeling more than a visualization.
Do I feel like I can contact it or interact with it, or it's just feeling of observance.
It feels like you're just being watched. It's creepy. It's not all that dissimilar to the feeling that you had when you were in the gardens of the Dawnfather and you were having that kind of reverent moment with the First of Azamar statue and altar that was kind of overgrown with wild vegetation. It just, that itch that you get that you just can't scratch.
Mm-hmm.
It's pervasive. While the others are examining the skiff and trying to identify it and check out its condition and see who might be tethered or tied or nearby the skiff, you just kind of keep an eye out, looking around. And even though you're not that far from the High Tree Station, I mean, you're only 1,000 feet off the trail, but God, it's dense, and it feels like if you got lost here, you went in the wrong direction, you'd be by yourself. This place feels strange and old. There's something watching.
Can I get a sense if it feels like benevolent, or is there any malice behind it, or?
Give me an insight check as you kind of struggle with this emotion that you're feeling.
14.
You get the feeling another Azamar is watching you.
I just kind of shiver a little bit, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
Okay.
You all right there, Birdie? Oh man, there's two of your wings now. Hang on, never mind.
I was about to ask.
Trail, you all right? Looking a little off, like
Yes.
pale, like
This area has a strong sensation. There's just some sort of strong presence here, it feels like. And I don't know if it's just surrounding magic or what, but something strange is going on here.
right. Well, I think we've found all we can find here. Perhaps we ought to be moving on to the ruins.
Did
Are
we
there
already
any-
look inside the skiff? Was that part of our investigation?
You guys have mostly just been looking at the outside of it.
Can I guess,
I was looking inside to see if there was any like signs of what it was carrying.
Well, on the main deck, no obvious signs. I would say you would have seen a small hatch that goes into the private deck below. But these skiffs usually have a very small secondary deck for storing things, or sometimes these skiffs are used for smuggling. So it's a very kind of common place to smuggle items into the kind of like lower section of the smaller deck below the main deck. These things are usually kind of very similar to, those, what are they called? With the pontoon boats, those very flat, simple using vessels that people kind of party and have a good time on for the purpose of just enjoying to be out. So the skiff has that kind of vibe that it is a pleasure vessel or pleasure cruise vessel. So
are there
Melody,
any... Oh, sorry.
sorry, give me an investigation check as you got to leap up onto the deck to kind of open up the hatch and check underneath to see if there's anything down below.
Okay.
And I'd say Forn would give you advantage because he pointed it out when he was investigating the ship or
I
the
need
skiff.
it. Well, that's a 1 and a 3, so that's a 2.
Yeah, you pull it open and look inside, and you're like dangling upside down to see like up in the back and front of the compartments. It's very dark inside, hard to tell. It doesn't look like there's anything inside there.
I can't see anything in here. It's kind of dark, though.
Look, that's not how you look. Okay.
What do you mean? I'm like fully upside down.
Thank you for opening the hatch. Let's have a look inside. Like I'll kind of slip through the hole to look in.
Okay. as you kind of slip inside the hole to look inside, you immediately feel this kind of creepy, tingly sensation on your back. Melody, from above, looking down as Forn sets inside the hold, you see a massive kind of, they're called jungle lice. They're these ticks, and it's settled very stealthily onto the back of Forn. And you can see it's like tube-like connector to his neck. It is currently pumping blood from his, like, the back of his, like, skin exposed area. But Forn doesn't seem to notice it. You're not sure how long it's been there.
Bug, there's a bug on your back. I'm gonna try and like reach down and smack it with
Yeah, give me an unarmed strike as you go to smack it. Yeah.
All right. Oh, I go. Let's see. It's a 23 to hit.
Yeah, like you feel this, Forn, you feel it smack. How much damage does your unarmed strike do?
It's just does 4 hit points of damage.
4 hit points. It smashes the jungle lice on your neck, and it erupts like just it explodes, and there's like viscera and blood just kind of it pops out from it. Forn,
are there any bugs on me? Are there any bugs on me?
Yeah, you start looking and you don't see any. Forn, you take 3 points of piercing damage from the effect of the jungle lice. That's when you realize the entire inside of the hold that you're standing in is littered with these hand-sized jungle lice, all on the inside, kind of nattering and kind of skidding across the interior surface of the roof of the second level hold, which automatically tells you that this skiff has been here longer than 3 days.
Oh.
Infestations like this don't happen in 3 days. You know the world well enough, and you know these wilds down here well enough that it takes longer than a couple days for an infestation to settle in like this.
For this much, like this ain't right. This has been here longer than 3 days.
And the longer you stay in the hold, the more likely you're going to get covered by more of them.
I'm going to pop out of the hold, but I was going to take a shot, but nah, I'm save my energy. I'll pop out of the hold and like close it back up. Just
you can hear them scratching at the underside of the compartment.
I'm like wiping the gross off my
Yeah, you
collar.
feel this coin size welt beginning to form on the back of your neck.
I'm gonna be like smacking your coat wildly, just trying to make sure there are no more bugs in there.
Yeah, well, look, this amount of bugs, they don't, these things don't move in overnight. This skiff has been here longer than 3 days, or at least in order to have an infestation like this, it appears it must have been here longer than 3 days.
So is this not the right skiff? Because all of the guards told us she was here 3 days ago. Or did they?
I mean, is it possible she's not the first person to disappear here? Some of the guards.
It's
The way
odd.
the guards talk,
Quorum skiff.
the way the guards talk sounds like people go missing here every once in a while, fairly regularly.
Melody and Forn being up on the skiff and the others being down below. The two of you look around. Beyond the skiff that you're on, you can see 3 other skiffs in various states of condition, overgrown.
What?
Jeez.
Do we think Bryn was looking for her? I don't know why I keep talking like foreign. Do we think?
Do you think Prayne was looking for this person?
Maybe her family, other members of her family, or maybe this is a recurring pattern. They're all looking for something here.
Is there one that looks like it is sort of least overgrown, like something that looks like it's newest?
Yeah, give me a perception check as you kind of glance at the ones that you can see.
Okay.
I'll take a look as well.
Okay, you can give me a perception check for him as you look.
I got a 21.
Whoa!
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, the two of you look, and in the middle of the other four that you can see, the one in the middle of those other four looks to be newer. It's less overgrown. And Karina, your detect magic is still on. So as you're kind of like watching what they're watching, and you guys begin to move towards the area of these other skiffs, you can feel their brimstone engines are active. The thing that's weird about these skiffs, if these were going to be part of some, ill-intended purpose, these skiff engines are worth money. Like, they're worth a lot of money. They're very dangerous to handle and to remove. They're not powerful enough for airships, but they have a value on the underground market. None of these skiffs feel like they've been pilfered or stripped of anything. They all look to be pleasure cruise skiffs, like from the bigger households that would be up, in the Lantern Spire community, whether it's House Loomis, House Treshy, or other houses. They all have that same kind of familiarity. Some look like they've been down here a few weeks. Some look like they've been down here maybe 7 or 8 days. But the one that looks like it's only been down here a couple days is the one that draws your guys' attention.
That one out there, look, there's less shit on it.
How can you tell he's a king? Well, he's not covered in shit.
Exactly.
I thought this was the voice of some bad guy, and I was thoroughly.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
If these are pretty good ships, if the ships didn't appear to crash, does that indicate that something somehow destroyed it, shot something at it, maybe some kind of beast?
They just look like they were just moved over here out of the way. That's what's bizarre.
Does it feel like they were destroyed mid-flight?
They definitely don't look like they took damage other than when they were placed into the ground.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
There's a couple of skiffs look like they buckled. Like, they kind of landed harshly into the ground, and they have a lot more damage than a lot of the other skiffs have.
I want to see if, can I notice anything, is there anything in the surrounding forest area that looks like, there's been movement from outside the forest area of anyone that's come to the skiffs or left the skiffs after they've crashed?
Yeah, give me survival on that one, if you would, Eritrea.
That is a 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
There are a lot of heavy tracks that don't look familiar to you. There's a lot of activity. The ground is all upturned from the skiffs being either forcibly crash landed, or I'll say with the 10, you do notice some damage on the skiff. Like, these things might have been picked up by something and then placed here.
I
want to relay that to everybody that, looks like these may have been placed here. Go ahead, Albatross. Sorry.
You're fine. I know lag kind of gets us every week, but can I do a no, seriously, between people, but yeah, can I do a history check and just try to figure out what skiff here looks like it is the oldest model, just to kind of give me a baseline for how long this might have been happening?
What's your passive insight?
Passive insight's a 9.
9? You can give me a history check to see if there's any connection between the skiffs somehow. Yeah.
No. Oh, that's not bad. I believe that's a 22, but let me double check. Sorry, 20. Dirty
22? Dirty 20?
20. Yeah, dirty 20.
Plus, I had to turn on the air conditioner because there's so many people out there, and I'm freezing.
You're getting a tingling feeling now.
Yeah, I'm freezing. Now I'm getting those chills. I know how Eritrea feels. They all seem to be the same style and make. Okay. They all seem to be the style that would have been made within the last couple of years. They're pleasure skiffs. You see unfamiliar house markings on them. You see familiar house markings on them. You see House Merrick. You see House Treshy. You see House Loomis. You see, well, they would have had one too. You see House Maysoon as well. All the popular guild houses that make up the upper tier of the different organizations and guilds of Jrusar. Their pleasure skiffs are down here. No sign of any kind of blood or any direct damage to the skiffs. It's like an overgrown graveyard of about 6 skiffs that you can currently see.
Can I examine the House Loomis one?
Yeah, go ahead and give me investigation as you approach it to examine it. And also, Karina, give me a passive insight now that you're among the skiffs, because you have detect magic up.
Let's start with the insight. Oh, my passive insight is 14.
Okay.
And sorry, what was the second thing? Investigation?
Investigation, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm rolling like shit. That's an 8.
That's not a hard DC for you because you recognize the emblem of Alindra Loomis on it. This is her personal skiff. So you do recognize that. But now you notice something strange about the Brimstone engines. The reason why they're barely vibrating and barely pulsing, they appear to have been drained.
Oh. Can I do another investigation check with this information?
It depends on what you're checking for. I mean, you want to go examine one of the Brimstone engines?
Yeah, again, the one with the Loomis house.
Yeah, you crawl up onto its deck and down towards the aft end of it, where the little iron casing holds in the copper cauldron the power stone that would run these skiffs. There's a cover on it that give me a sleight of hand as you have to remove the cover to see the stone.
This is a 1+2.
As you go to remove the cover is ice cold to the touch as you take 12 points of cold damage.
Ooh, 12?
12 points of cold damage. It almost gives you a chronic frostbite. You watch as bits of your flesh turn black and purple from touching it. But it gives you, because it hurts so bad, when you pull your hand back, the door kind of flings open. And inside, you can see the brimstone inside the cauldron chamber. There's a larval creature wrapped around its base that seems to be absorbing its magic.
Can I try and identify this creature?
Give me a nature check. See if it rings a bell.
Hey, I also have locate animals or plants. Is that something I can use in this situation?
Well, it's right in front of you.
I guess I can say. Okay, nature. 19.
19. It is. It's almost like a large leech, but its membranic condition doesn't look familiar to you. You can see that it's absorbing the power of the brimstone, and while you're watching it, it's giving off a very cold kind of cold energy pulsing off of it. You can see its internal organs kind of pulsing and reacting to the slow absorption of the arcane energy of the engine. And then you watch as it kind of grows a little bit, just barely noticeable, just kind of like the blob, just gets a little bit bigger. And then you can detect that the magic of the brimstone gets a little bit less.
Is that something I've ever seen in House Lumos?
No, this is unfamiliar territory for you.
Hey, Foreign Melody. Does that feel familiar in any kind of Fey way?
Two of you crawl up onto the deck of the skiff. approach where Karina is pointing to the interior copper cauldron that holds the brimstone magic, and there you can see the larval creature kind of pulsing and absorbing the magic. Professor Jabaltros, give me a history check. Eritrea, the sense of being watched is now like a pervasive headache for you.
Ooh.
Now that you're among the skiffs.
That was a 23 on the history check.
For Foreign and Melody, does not look familiar. This is not something you've ever seen before. But as you yell it out to Professor Jabaltros, he immediately recognizes it. They are stargrazers. They are celestial larval creatures that feed off of arcane stones. Often they accidentally arrive when people use certain spells like Plenier Shift, or if magic has been put into a pocket of magic, or into a magic like a gateway spell. Sometimes these creatures will attach themselves onto things. But for you, Professor Jabaltros, you're going to automatically remember that these things are usually connected to a parental gestation creature, a creature that's usually quite large and quite dangerous as well.
Oh no!
They have very long, like they tend to be about 50 feet long. They're very much built like centipedes, but they have a blue and pink arcane glow about them. Their stinger is lethal. It's said that if you're stung by one of these things, it's with the intent of implanting a larval structure within you. The larval structure then hatches and feeds on the remains of its incubation. And then they are said to be picked up by the parental unit in a means to find magical items or magical things that give off magic placed on these things until they kind of come out of their larval state and turn into a new pupa state. And then the stargrazers erupt, and then the whole life cycle kind of repeats itself.
Okay. I am going to ask this because are these things, you said I know what they are from how it was described. Are they any of the following? Is this an aberration, a celestial, a fae, or a fiend?
It is a celestial.
Okay. So I just kind of want to gather the group up. It's like, all of you get behind me now. And I'm going to see if I can... I'm aware that it is cocoon, for lack of a better word, or it's not fully active. I'm going to use one of my paladin abilities, which is Abjure the Extraplanar. Okay. So this thing has to make a wisdom saving throw. And if it can't, I'm assuming it can't really do anything, but I'm assuming it can't really move, but it has to like flee from me, essentially. It has to run as far as it can away from me.
So as all of you gather around on the edge of the skiff, Professor Jabaltros reaches out and infuses some paladine divinity towards it. You watch as the larval creature immediately detaches itself from the brimstone engine and flops onto the deck and immediately lets out this screeching noise. I need everyone to make wisdom saves.
Oh, no. By the way, as we're hopping down, I will have, grabbed Karina's hand and cast Lay on Hands for those 12 points.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Watch as the frostbite recedes off your fingers.
Yeah, thank you.
Mine was a 16.
Ooh,
21.
I got a 24 at 20.
Nice.
5.
You and me both.
Distracted. You're distracted.
Yeah.
Eritrea, the celestial scream does not affect you. Everybody else, as long as you got a 14 or higher, you are not under the frightened condition. It screeches at a very large kind of high-pitched screech, flops off the side of the skiff, and you can hear it move very quickly into the undergrowth of the jungle and just slithers away. You watch as the broomstone engine brightens. You watch as the cold dissipates. You quickly close the cauldron door, and you begin to feel the skiff kind of creak a bit, and then suddenly it starts hovering a few feet off the ground as the broomstone engine is secured. You immediately hear the skiff's keel break in half from the other damage it already took, and the whole thing breaks in two and just collapses into the ground. You watch as the cauldron that contained the broomstone belches out the broomstone onto the deck, and there's a huge kind of arcane explosion that just engulfs the deck of the skiff. I need everyone to make deck saves, if you would, please.
Could I try and catch the stone
You want to catch it as it explodes?
before it hits the deck? Like I want to, like, just if it pops out, try and react and catch it.
So before everyone does deck saves, Born, give me a sleight of hand check as you try to catch it.
Sleight of hand. Yep. That's 9.
9. You reach out to try to catch it. It goes past your hand, slams into the deck, and the stone cracks. And that's when the arcane explosion just kind of pulses out.
Feels
Now
really
I need
good.
deck saves from everybody, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, let me ask this, because I was going to try doing kind of the same thing, just if I could alter its flight or like try to like bat it up with one of my wings, do kind of the same thing, and just not necessarily catch it, but try to make it hit with less force.
Because you were up there interacting with the larval, I'll give you a chance as well. So you can give me a sleight of hand, Professor.
Okay. I think it's a +4.
please catch it. I have a 3 and die.
Okay, we did good. We did real good. That is a 23.
23. As you catch it, the searing kind of force of the energy in the stone, since it's outside of the cauldron of containment, you're going to take 32 points of force damage from the arcane effect
Oh my
as
god.
you grab onto it.
Oof.
Jeez.
Are we still
Welcome,
making
Comfy.
deck saves?
I'll grab the cauldron then and try to
Give me, you go to reach for it. You can see that it just sears. It's like it's very kind of like Thanos snapping his fingers, or Iron, more like Iron Man. You can see the arcane rot running up Professor Jabatros's arm, the arcane energy coursing into his form. Without the cauldron to contain its arcane energy, Foreign, you want to grab it and
I'm
throw it
grabbing
into
the cauldron, trying to be like, drop it here, right here. Yeah.
That feels like another sleight of hand check, unfortunately.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
I'll say if anyone wants to help
better.
you can have advantage.
Well, that's a
Well,
dirty 20 right there. So
Okay. So with that dirty 20, you grab onto it and quickly toss it into the cauldron and slam the door. But when you touch it, unfortunately, because you touched it briefly, it's going to give you 16 points of force damage from touching the arcane stone. It immediately gets back into the cauldron. The arcane energy is recontained. And the back half of the skiff, now broken away from the front half of the skiff, starts spiraling upward away from you guys, out of control. Since all of you kind of like were closer to the front half, Foreign and Professor Jalbatros would be on the back half at this point. So Eritrea and Karina and Melody, you're watching the back end of the skiff start pirouetting up into the canopy. Professor Jalbatros, you could fly. Foreign, I need either a strength check or a dex check, as the back end of the skiff is now kind of out of control.
Yep.
Can I try to race up there and can I try to fly up to him? Is he close enough that I can fly to potentially grab him?
He's about 30 feet above you. What'd you get for him?
that's dex. That's 12.
12. You watch as he loses his footing up on the remaining of the deck, starts tumbling down. Eritrea, you kind of leap up in the air, meeting him halfway. Give me an athletics check, Eritrea.
Come on, baby. Jesus. 0. Dirty 0.
Yeah. You go up to catch him, and it's that classic moment in like black and white film where you're staring at the camera and he just goes right by you.
Oh,
You guys watch as Foreign bounces off the ground. Foreign take 4 points of falling damage as you come crashing down.
God.
Man, these inanimate objects are
Professor
kicking your ass.
Albatross, you're still clinging on to the back end of the skiff, and it's getting higher and higher up towards the canopy of the trees. What do you want to do? You're on mute, by the way.
That's what I get for digging in my drawer. It's completely out of control, right? There's no way to restore this. As far as...
Yeah, it's so heavily damaged, and the magic containment that's used to keep it kind of functional is now kind of shattered and broken.
Okay. Does it look like it's on a collision course with anything that's going to endanger other people?
No, it looks like it's spiraling up towards the canopy of the jungle, and eventually it'll probably break apart up there.
Okay. I'm trying to think how to do this without it like crashing down on y'all. What I'd like to do, it's kind of a combination action. I'd like to throw a sacred flame at the engine.
Okay.
And then just basically flip off the back of this thing, and I'm just going to try to like nudge it as much as I can, like put all my strength into it. I don't need it to go far. It's I just
Sacred
don't want
Flame
it to fall
is a
down.
dex check or a ranged attack?
I think it's a range attack. It's a dex 14.
Okay. It auto fails that. So your Sacred Flame strikes the engine. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. What was it? Oh, I think it's just what was it 1d8. Yeah, 1d8 plus 9. Ha! That was a 1.
A 1. The
Yeah,
engine was pretty much already pretty heavily damaged from the initial crash and then the resurgence of the arcane energy. As you backflip off, it's just like a Bruckheimer film. You got to backflip off. Instead of nudging it, you finally tear through the compartment of the engine. And as all of you are looking up, this fiery explosion of arcane energy bellows outwards as Professor Jalbatross is like, superhero spiraling. And then right next to Foreign, where Foreign's still on his back looking up, just kind of like 3-point lands. And he kind of does that chest rip, as he stands up.
Show off.
Now
Professor.
now that we have made our presence known very loudly, should we maybe hide and see if anybody comes to check on us?
Let's head towards the ruins. Just walk quickly towards the ruins away from this location.
How far are the ruins? Are they within 30 feet?
They're another half mile walk down the trail.
I'm gonna maybe try and put an alarm. Well, okay, there are two things I was thinking I can do. Let me know if any of them make sense. I can see if I can find an adult version of those tiny gross things. Mostly so we can avoid it. And I can do an alarm on one of those things and walk away and see if anybody...
I mean, based on your detect magic, the other 5 skiffs probably have larval creatures on them. This feels like a brood. This feels like something celestial based created a brood here, and you haven't seen the creature yet that would create the brood.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, I think Melody's right. Let's get the fuck out.
Let's just move at speed down the trail and get out of here.
Foreign, do you want to maybe leave a thing here so we can listen if in a little bit and see if maybe anybody else will be here?
Sure. I'll take one of my. I'm going to hang it where that one was.
Okay.
Like, so it's kind of, assuming we're kind of in the middle of where all of them are.
That's
Like
fair.
hanging on a branch or something.
Is there an effect that
Yeah.
you suffer if the mark or the trinket is destroyed inadvertently?
Nope.
Okay.
Let's get the fuck out.
You guys kind of come out of the abandoned skiffs that are overgrown. You get back. It's about 1,000 feet back to the main trail. You kind of look back into the half-mile direction that you came from. You can see a group of 4 wardens walking up the trail. And as you guys come onto the trail, they kind of approach you. Are you all right? We heard an explosion. Is everything fine?
Yeah, that was really scary. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
What
What
happened?
was that?
Oh, of course. Thought maybe you saw it, or you know what? We will continue to search for it. If you see anything, let us know. They kind of turn and break up into groups and kind of meander the trail a little bit. They walk up in the direction you're going for just a little while, turn back, and just kind of get this shrugged shoulder look on their faces, and kind of start marching back towards the high tree station.
Xanth would be so disappointed in these guys. Where is their sort of guardly zeal?
I mean, Forn kind of wants to send them towards whatever animal thing was back there, but you know,
Nothing like bipedal bait.
right?
I want to cast Cure Wounds at a 2nd level on Jalbatros.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
48 plus 7. So it's 10. It's 17, 24 points back.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
cool. I'll take that.
That's solid healing, baby.
Same thing for Forn.
Okay.
I need it.
That's 14, 21 points to you.
Ooh, thank you.
Nice.
All right.
You guys come down the trail further until you can see these smaller footpaths that lead off of the main path that you're on. And there's a feeling that this place feels less traveled. This area feels less traveled. You begin to see an old stone building that's heavily kind of overgrown with jungle growth. You see columns and stone block walls have kind of collapsed in on themselves. The surrounding area, though, there's like over by the ruin, you could see this huge tree. It's massive, and all of these strange kind of colorful growths on the tree, kind of sprouting off the edge of the tree and up along its spine and up to the point where you lose sight of it up into the canopy. And it is part of the canopy. It's so massive, its own canopy is commingled with the main canopy of the jungle, and it's like almost creates this like little atmosphere of its own. And you can see heavy, like humid water coming down. The humidity is a lot heavier over by here as well. You can see two kind of very rudimentary picnic tables that look like to have been made from scraps and spare parts, of lumber. The chairs are actually old barrels that have been converted into chairs. There's some stone walls that maybe people would sit on to enjoy a meal. It seems like it's the end of this part of the trail. Like all the smaller trails led you into this one particular spot. You look around, you don't really see anything out of the ordinary. The tree is massive and gorgeous with lots of colorful kind of flora growing in and around it. You could see a small pond, maybe 30, 40 feet across by 25 feet across, kind of surrounded by flora as well. The grass is heavy and it's a bit of a swampy environment. Well, it's not a swamp, it's got that kind of boggy feeling to it. And you notice for the first time your feet kind of squish here. There's a lot of dampness in the soil. There's the sounds of insects and the wilds like up in the canopy itself. It feels very humid and just, it's beautiful, it's interesting, but there's no sense of immediate threat nearby. You don't see anything that looks out of the ordinary as far as you can tell.
So I'm going to try and take a look at the general layout, but also see if I can get any kind of recognition of the ruin itself. Like if there's any construction type that feels familiar or looks familiar.
Okay. Give me an insight check on that one or an investigation. I'll let you choose.
All right. Let's see that one. Let's go insight. It's a 16.
Okay. As you glance around this place, it feels abandoned on purpose. It kind of feels like it's a touristy area. Like when people arrive and they're told of this really cool old place to go visit, they're kind of pointed in this direction. But there's something about this place. The hairs on the back of your neck kind of stand up a bit the longer you linger here. Eritrio, give me a con save, if you would, please.
Eritrea is going through it today.
Oh, nat 20 for 21.
Ooh.
Nice.
I took out a new D20 too, so
The buzzing and the sensation feels like it should be more painful than it is. It's that proverbial kind of pulsing pain in the back of your mind. Something very large and something very celestial in origin is somewhere around here, but you don't see it and you're not sure where.
Did Jalbatros tell us about this sort of giant parent creature that might be
I don't know if I
nearby?
would have had a chance. It was just
Okay.
a like, hey.
I mean, on the
this is
walk
a
towards the
thing.
ruins, he could fill you in on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was I don't know what the name for that thing is in common, but it's a horrible celestial creature, and we needed to be out of there now. That was a juvenile. Which means there's an adult somewhere in the vicinity. They're a lot scarier than that. They're, I don't know, 50 feet long, something like that.
And he would describe them as stargrazers.
What?
Is it normal for celestials to be in these parts?
As far as I know, I was here to look at gnomish things. Far beyond my understanding.
Well, Professor, I have a feeling something big is around us.
Yeah, you mean
I
beyond?
can't see it, but I'm feeling the presence of it.
Can I use primal awareness and try and reach out to the thing?
Ugh.
Since I now know it's celestial.
What's the range of effect on that?
Sorry, 1 second. Gotta go back to my features and traits. Sorry, never mind. It's not primeval awareness. It's just primal awareness. Never mind. It was just a thing that gives me speak with animals. Dang. I thought it was the thing Tally had. Sorry.
No worries.
Dang.
Yeah.
So when you do run into one of these, like, is it friendly or what are its weaknesses?
Would I know its weaknesses? I knew
Not
what it
really. You
was.
just know from general studies that a fully grown stargrazer can get anywhere from 50 to 80 feet long. Their stinger is very lethal. They like dark, shadowy, damp, warm spaces. They're very centipede or millipede in form and shape. They have what's called astral sight. So they have a version of true sight. The last known incident of one of these was when some of your fellow professors were traveling to another part of Exandria, back from a planar trip from a different plane, and inadvertently kind of brought one of these infestations back. It took a while to deal with them and did a lot of arcane damage, but they were eventually dealt with. But there's not a specific weakness that you're aware of.
Does this information indicate that it might be useful for me to use rap sense in this location?
What does Rap Sense do again?
For the duration, you sense the presence of portals, even inactive ones within 30 feet of yourself.
Yeah, it might be useful.
While she does that, I'm gonna try climbing the ruin, like getting up to high ground.
Okay.
Can I sense any this ruin? Did it seem to be, a place of worship at any time? Would I sense any, religious?
You can give me a religion check as you watch Foreign crawl up into the ruins, and you start kind of looking at the tree, the ruins, and try to get a feel if there's a religious significance about the place.
That's 15.
15? Okay.
What is a DC ability check?
For Rap Sense?
Yeah.
Well, read it off to me. We'll help you walk through it.
Thanks. If you detect a portal in this way, you. Oh, okay. So I guess it's like afterwards. So I'll wait until we get to it.
Okay. As you watch as Foreign crawls up into the ruin structure, Eritrio's kind of like examining parts of the ruin to see if there's any religious kind of connotation or any kind of idea. And the whole time, Professor Jabaltros is kind of like on a lecture about these creatures and feeding you guys this constant information, just diarrhea of data, as they say, right? Karina, you start wandering around to see if you can sense this possible portal that might be here. Melody, what are you doing while all this is going on?
I think she's very enamored of this big, beautiful tree, but also kind of wary that it sounds like maybe there's a huge bug nearby.
Give me a perception check as you're following Karina as she's kind of like walking the general area to get a sense.
Okay. 19?
19. Following Karina, as she's kind of lost in the idea of searching and looking around, and she's kind of focusing on what feels like a magic ability or something.
Mm-hmm.
Karina, in the heart of the root system of the tree that's kind of exposed, there's the sense of an old portal that's been like closed or that's no longer active. Something used this area to shift via a portal and arrive here. This might match Professor Jabaltros' detail in regards to the idea that these stargazers latched onto something and then traveled with whoever came here. But somebody with unusually decent arcane and magical ability used this area recently to arrive, maybe within the last 3 or 4 weeks, possibly.
Oh, damn.
Melody, looking past where Karina is kind of like examining the root system of the tree, hanging upside down, swathed in like a rubbery kind of viscera kind of webbing. You could see somebody, the silhouette of a body. It's completely cocooned and wrapped up, and you watch as it twitches a little bit. And you can hear kind of a muffled kind of...
Guys, we've got a person in a tree. We have a cocooned person in a tree. I'm pointing up to where they are.
Can I fly up and cut them down?
You watch as Professor Albatross goes running across the open space, still lecturing as he does this because he's a multitasker. As he's lecturing, he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. Sometimes they ensnare their prey in a rubbery webbing." And he like leaps up into the air. Professor Albatross, give me an athletics check as you fly up and kind of hang on to one of the inner roots and begin to kind of like cut at the rubbery webbing.
What is that? That is a 24.
24. You guys watch as Professor Jabaltros is working really good at the webbing, and as he cuts it, he lets go of the root and then grabs on to the rubbery kind of enwrapped silhouette form and then glides it back down to the ground. With Foreign still on overwatch by the ruins and everyone else kind of gravitating towards Jabaltros, The body's like kind of laid on the ground. And there's a muffled kind of like you. You watch as Professor Jabba starts peeling away, and they're staring up at you through this mucousy webbing. You can see the description matching Priscilla. She looks gaunt, near the level of thirst that she'd experienced after 3 days of being like this. She looks barely like she's clinging on to life. Foreign, give me a perception check, if you would, please.
Certainly. That's a 24.
The pond suddenly erupts. And as it does, this 50-foot arachnid-like creature comes erupting out of the pond and just its whole form slamming into the swampy ground.
Oh, no.
And that's where we're going to finish tonight. Something to look forward to in 2 weeks. In fact, let me show you what you get to look forward to
Oh no.
in 2 weeks.
Wait, I didn't finish my spell. Can I just do the spell real quick so I don't forget to do it next?
Man.
Oh,
Wow,
no.
That's gross.
Again, running away is an option.
No, running away
Okay.
is always an option.
It's like
Absolutely.
Cobra Centipede.
Wait, right. I still didn't do the DC 15 ability check to see if I can tell where the portal, the destination and plane of the portal, and what key is required to activate it.
Oh, well, that's going to take some doing. So we'll, we'll come back to that in 2 weeks.
I'll put it in my notes.
Oh my God, it's so awesome. I miss you guys. It's going to be a 2-week break. So, but we're heading off to Vancouver Tuesday night, and we should be back Wednesday afternoon the following week. Just for shiggles, roll for the shop. Technically, Binder has advantage on your rolls, so somebody roll 2d20 if you would, please.
All right, I got 2 coming to me. Ah! Oh God! I got a, I think I was a 19 and a 18, so 19.
Okay, 19. I will write that down and add that so we know how well the shop did for the day, in case you survive.
Can we just
you
know
guys-
how much money we made?
Never. Go ahead and linger. Everyone else, be safe, be kind, and don't forget to play a game. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
Nice.
Is there an outro? Of course there's an outro. There's the